While Americans spend over $4,000 per person annually on healthcare, struggling with prescription costs and insurance nightmares, there's a community that spends almost nothing on medicine. No expensive drugs, no insurance premiums, no pharmacy visits. They grow their healthcare in backyard gardens, using knowledge that could save your family thousands every year. Garden pharmacy. Walk through an Amish garden, and you might think you're seeing simple vegetables and flowers. But look closer. What appears to be an ordinary garden is actually a living pharmacy, carefully designed over 3 centuries of trial and refinement. Hidden among the tomatoes and corn are powerful medicines that have healed families for generations without fail. These aren't decorative plants placed for beauty alone. They're survival tools disguised as common weeds, positioned with deadly precision. Forgotten healers. That tall plant with fuzzy leaves growing near the barn? That's mullein, and Amish mothers use it to treat everything from chest congestion to ear infections in teething babies. The scraggly weed by the fence line? That's yarrow, applied immediately to cuts and wounds to stop bleeding and prevent infection naturally. What we dismiss as garden weeds, the Amish treasure as medicine. Feverfew growing near the kitchen door treats headaches better than aspirin without side effects. Street Johnswort, blooming yellow in summer sun, calms nerves and lifts depression more gently than prescriptions. Horehound, bitter and unremarkable, becomes life-saving cough syrup when winter illnesses strike unexpectedly. These plants aren't accidents. They're positioned with surgical precision throughout Amish communities. Natural remedies. Step into an Amish medicine preparation area, and you'll discover techniques that pharmaceutical companies study but can't replicate. Echinacea roots, carefully harvested and dried, boost immune systems more effectively than expensive supplements. When children develop ear infections, mothers reach for mullein oil, steeped for weeks in olive oil, creating eardrops that rival anything from a pharmacy. Burdock leaves, steamed and applied to burns, heal without scarring. Comfrey, known as bone knit, helps fractures heal faster when applied as poultices. Valerian root, dried and brewed into tea, provides sleep without the side effects of modern sleeping pills. These remedies work because they've been tested for over 300 years. Every generation refines the knowledge, discarding what fails and perfecting what succeeds. Ancient knowledge. The transfer of this medicinal knowledge follows patterns established centuries ago. Amish children don't learn about plants from books or internet searches. They learn by walking through gardens with grandmothers who can identify healing plants by touch, smell, and even the sound they make in the wind. A 5-year-old Amish child can distinguish between plantain species, knowing which variety works best for bee stings and which treats deeper cuts. By age 10, they understand harvest timing, recognizing when feverfew reaches peak potency and how moon phases affect medicinal plant strength. This knowledge transfer happens daily, woven into ordinary activities. While hanging laundry, mothers point out plantain growing nearby, explaining how to use it for emergencies. During evening chores, fathers show sons how to identify yarrow in fading light, when accidents often happen. The Amish approach herbal medicine as both practical skill and sacred trust. They believe God placed healing plants throughout creation, and learning to use them properly honors divine provision. This spiritual dimension isn't separate from medical effectiveness. It enhances it, creating healing practices that address both physical symptoms and emotional well-being. Women serve as primary keepers of this knowledge, passing recipes and techniques through carefully guarded family traditions. Companion secrets. What looks like random plant placement in Amish gardens reveals sophisticated design principles developed over generations. Every medicinal plant serves multiple purposes, carefully positioned to maximize both healing potential and garden productivity. Marigolds aren't grown for beauty alone. Planted among tomatoes, they repel harmful insects while providing petals for healing salves that treat cuts and skin irritations. Basil, positioned strategically throughout vegetable rows, deters pests naturally while supplying leaves for digestive teas and respiratory treatments. Mint spreads aggressively near water sources, controlling harmful insects while providing fresh leaves for stomach ailments and headache relief. Dill, scattered among cucumber plants, protects crops from beetles while producing seeds that aid digestion and calm colicky babies. This companion planting creates layers of protection that chemical pesticides cannot match. Beneficial insects attracted to medicinal flowers patrol vegetable crops, eliminating harmful pests without poisoning the soil or plants. The diversity of medicinal plants confuses pest species while providing concentrated healing resources within arm's reach of daily work. Even placement follows medicinal logic. Plantain grows near laundry lines because wet hands often suffer cuts from clothespins and rough fabric. Yarrow thrives by barn doors, where farm accidents commonly occur. Comfrey establishes itself near workshops where injuries happen frequently. These aren't coincidences. They represent 3 centuries of refinement, positioning healing exactly where it's needed most. Preservation methods. The Amish have mastered preservation techniques that maintain medicinal potency long after harvest season ends. Their methods, passed down through generations, often surpass modern pharmaceutical preservation in both effectiveness and safety. Drying techniques follow precise timing and environmental controls. Medicinal herbs are harvested at peak potency, usually early morning after dew evaporates, but before afternoon heat diminishes active compounds. They're dried in specific locations, attics with good airflow, shaded porches with consistent temperature, or specially designed drying rooms that protect from light and moisture. Tincture preparation involves steeping plant materials in alcohol for specific time periods, creating concentrated medicines that remain potent for years. Amish families maintain alcohol specifically for this purpose, understanding that different plants require different alcohol concentrations for optimal extraction. Oil preparations follow seasonal cycles. Mullein flowers are collected during peak summer bloom, then steeped in olive oil for weeks, creating eardrops that remain effective through winter months. Comfrey oils are prepared in spring when root energy is highest, providing healing salves for the busy work season ahead. Honey serves dual purposes in Amish medicine. As both preservative and healing agent, it transforms bitter herbs into palatable remedies, while adding its own antimicrobial properties. Honey-based preparations can last for years without refrigeration while maintaining healing effectiveness. Storage systems use glass containers, cloth bags, and wooden boxes that allow medicines to breathe while protecting from light and moisture. Family medicine cabinets contain remedies prepared years earlier, still potent when needed. Growing techniques. Amish medicinal plant cultivation follows principles that enhance healing properties while minimizing maintenance requirements. Their growing techniques, refined over centuries, create optimal conditions for plants to develop maximum therapeutic potential. Soil preparation begins with understanding that medicinal plants often thrive in conditions that would stress conventional crops. Many healing herbs prefer lean soils with good drainage, developing stronger medicinal compounds when they struggle slightly for nutrients. Amish gardeners avoid over-fertilizing medicinal areas, allowing plants to concentrate energy into active healing compounds rather than excessive leaf growth. Animal manure application follows careful timing. Fresh manure can burn delicate medicinal plants or create excessive nitrogen that dilutes therapeutic compounds. Aged manure, composted for at least 1 year, provides gentle nutrition that supports healthy growth without compromising medicinal potency. Companion planting serves medicinal gardens differently than food production areas. Plants are grouped not just for pest control or soil improvement, but for synergistic healing effects. Herbs that work together medicinally are often grown together, creating garden areas dedicated to specific health concerns, respiratory ailments, digestive problems, or wound healing. Harvest timing follows natural rhythms that modern commercial production ignores. Roots are dug in fall when plant energy concentrates underground. Leaves are gathered in early summer when essential oils peak. Flowers are collected at first bloom when therapeutic compounds reach maximum concentration. Moon phase harvesting, while dismissed by conventional agriculture, influences medicinal plant potency in ways Amish gardeners have observed for generations. Plants harvested during waning moons often store better and maintain potency longer than those gathered during waxing phases. Seed saving for medicinal varieties requires different techniques than food crops. Medicinal plant genetics must maintain therapeutic properties, not just growth characteristics. Amish families select breeding stock based on healing effectiveness, carefully preserving varieties that demonstrate superior medicinal value. Water management avoids irrigation methods that dilute plant compounds. Many medicinal herbs develop stronger therapeutic properties when slightly water-stressed, concentrating active ingredients. Amish gardeners provide just enough moisture to maintain plant health while encouraging maximum medicinal development. Sacred gardening. For the Amish, tending medicinal plants transcends practical healthcare management. It becomes a form of worship, connecting families to divine provision while fulfilling their role as stewards of God's creation. Biblical connections permeate Amish medicinal gardening practices. They reference Ezekiel 47-12, which speaks of trees whose leaves are for healing, seeing their herb gardens as fulfillment of scriptural promises. Genesis 1:29, where God gives every seed-bearing plant for human use, validates their belief that plant medicine represents divine intention rather than primitive healthcare. Prayer accompanies every stage of medicinal plant cultivation. Families offer gratitude during planting, ask for blessing during growth periods, and thank God during harvest times. This spiritual framework isn't separate from practical gardening. It enhances effectiveness by creating reverent attention to plant needs and optimal growing conditions. Community healing circles form naturally in garden spaces during harvest seasons. Families gather to process medicinal plants together, sharing knowledge while strengthening social bonds. Children participate in these gatherings, absorbing both practical skills and spiritual understanding simultaneously. Evening devotions often occur in garden areas where families reflect on the day's work while surrounded by growing medicines. These quiet times reinforce connections between physical healing and spiritual wellness, teaching children that healthcare involves both practical knowledge and faith-based approaches. Seasonal blessing ceremonies mark important medicinal gardening milestones. Spring planting receives community prayers for healthy growth. Harvest celebrations include gratitude for healing provisions. Winter preparation involves asking for wisdom to use preserved medicines effectively. This sacred approach creates healing practices that address whole person wellness rather than isolated symptoms. Economic wisdom. Amish medicinal gardens generate savings that would astound modern families struggling with healthcare costs. Where typical American families spend thousands annually on prescription medications, doctor visits, and health insurance, Amish communities maintain health through garden-based medicine costing mere dollars per year. Cost comparisons reveal staggering differences. A prescription ear infection treatment costing $60 at pharmacies requires only pennies worth of mullein oil and olive oil in Amish households. Anxiety medications costing hundreds monthly are replaced by valerian tea grown in backyard gardens. Anti-inflammatory drugs with expensive ongoing costs give way to willow bark preparations that cost nothing beyond initial planting investment. Income generation through medicinal plants provides economic opportunities within Amish communities. Families specialize in particular herbal preparations, selling dried herbs, tinctures, and healing salves to neighbors and surrounding communities. These cottage industries require minimal startup investment while generating steady income streams. Community herb cooperatives share costs and knowledge among multiple families. Groups coordinate plantings to ensure variety coverage, with different families specializing in different medicinal categories. This cooperation reduces individual garden space requirements while providing comprehensive medicine access for entire communities. Bartering systems use medicinal plants as currency for other goods and services. Healing preparations trade for furniture, food preservation services, or farm equipment use. These exchanges strengthen community bonds while reducing cash dependency. Insurance replacement occurs through community health support networks. When serious medical situations arise, communities provide both herbal treatments and financial assistance, creating healthcare security without expensive insurance premiums. Long-term economic independence develops as families master medicinal gardening, reducing dependence on external healthcare systems and pharmaceutical companies. Modern applications. Modern medicine increasingly validates traditional Amish herbal remedies through rigorous scientific research. Studies confirm that echinacea effectively reduces cold duration and severity, matching Amish observations spanning centuries. Willow bark research led to aspirin development, proving that traditional pain relief methods contained active